Today I'll be making a Blackberry Plum Sorbet. I'm going to be using a little bit of green tea instead of water to just add some flavor to it. I'm also going to be using a little bit of elderflower gin, but I don't want it to be icy, and with alcohol you have to be really careful. So I'm going to cook the alcohol first so I get the flavor of it, but not the iciness and not the alcohol, in case people can't drink or don't want to drink any alcohol. I'm going to be using Splenda and some monk fruit sweetener as well. I'm going to put a little bit of salt in it, probably, depending on the flavors, a little bit of lemon, maybe some lemon zest, and I'm going to use some of this Ava cream. It's a ice cream stabilizer. I haven't used it before, so we'll see. It does have guar gum in it. It also has monodiglycerides and carrageenan, which I've never heard of. So these are all stabilizers. I'm just going to use a little bit. I'm just going to follow the instructions. It says 3/4 of a teaspoon for 2 quarts, so I'll just adjust that for my pint. So to get started, I'm going to start cooking my elderflower gin. Since this is a sorbet, I'm not using butter. I just started with the gin, the elderflower gin, and then I sliced the plum, took out the pits, and I didn't worry about the shape too much. Honestly, this plum kind of fell apart as I was cutting it, but that's fine because I'm going to blend this all up. Just right now I'm cooking it to cook off the alcohol in the gin and to kind of get it softened, and I'm going to add my other ingredients now. I'm going to add my blackberries. I'm going to add all of them. Since this is a sorbet, I want it to be really heavy with the fruit, and there's going to be no milk products in there. It's just going to be the green tea, the elderflower gin. If I need to, I'll add a little water, but I think that'll be plenty depending on how much tea. I'm also going to add a little bit of lemon juice. This was a huge lemon, so I think I'm just going to add half of this one. Normally I would add about the juice of 1 lemon. I don't want the seeds in there because they're bitter, even though this is going to be strained. They just kind of make a bitter taste, so I'm going to just fish that out. Normally I use a juicer, but I didn't have one handy right now, so I just decided to squeeze it by hand. I don't know if I'm going to zest this lemon. I'm going to decide that after I taste the flavors at the end. So I'm not going to throw this out. I'm just going to like put it to the side, but there's a lot of juice in there, which is going to be really good for the sorbet. It brings out the flavors of the berries and the plums. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of this monk fruit sweetener. I'm not going to measure, I'm just going to sprinkle some in, and then I'm going to taste. It all depends on how sweet your fruit is. I tasted the plum, it's pretty sweet. The blackberries are not very sweet. I tend to, blackberries, it just depends. So I'm going to cook this down, and then I'm going to blend it and strain it. Now that this is cooked down about 10 minutes, it's looking good. I've kind of mashed the fruit a little bit, mostly the berries. Once they got soft, I was able to mash them. Now at this point, you can either directly strain it, or you can blend it and then strain it. For this one, I think I'm going to blend it first and then strain it. I think I'll get a little bit more juice out of it that way. It's just an extra step. It's not going to matter in the long run. The flavor is going to be the same. I think it's just a matter of how much volume you're going to get out of it. I blended the plums and berries, and then I strained them, and it was kind of difficult to strain because I used this and I put it over, and it's so thick that it just kind of got stuck. So I had to use a spoon to go back and forth and kind of get it going. And sometimes I took a different spoon and would take it off the bottom. So now I've got my this much, which is great because now I'm ready to add more sugar, maybe a little salt, and my green tea instead of water. So as far as sugar goes, I'm going to add about 1/2 cup, and then I'm going to taste it. And I'm going to mix it with green tea, not quite up to the top because I might need to add more sugar. but quite a bit of green tea, just about close to the top. Some of it spilled, but that's fine, it's just tea. So I'm going to stir this up and taste it. Tasted pretty good. I did add a little bit of lemon zest. I just used this zester and took a little bit off of this lemon that I used the juice of. So I'll put that aside. I'm going to add a little bit of salt. It needs more sugar, so I'm going to add the rest of the sugar, so that would be a total of about a cup. And I'm going to add my guar gum for stabilization. So I'm going to add, this is about between 1/4 and 1/2 of a teaspoon, so just a very little bit. And I'll stir this up again and taste it, and I'll be ready to freeze. After one last taste, it needed a little more of something, so I added some more lemon zest, and I decided to add some thyme, fresh thyme. So I just, I have some in my garden, so I just picked some and chopped it up, and I think that's going to add another dimension because it was a bit boring with just the green tea. So of course when this is ground up, all of the little bits of the thyme are going to be ground up too, so it'll be nice. But I do want to stir it so I can kind of taste it before I put it away to freeze. And I think that's much better. I'm ready to spin this on the sorbet setting. After one spin, it looks good. It's really a deep, dark color. It's pretty. So now I'm ready to scoop it and taste it. I'm just going to do one little melon baller scoop today because I'm not that hungry. Here's what it looks like. Now I'm ready to taste it. It's really good. It's got a very strong flavor. I like it strong, but it might be a little bit sour for some people. But I think it's still pretty good.